Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. Thanks for being with us tonight. We're talking mass transit, and we have people here who can answer your questions about the proposal. Anything you want to talk about. We can really delve into it tonight. So let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Michael. Hello, Michael.
Yes, Michael.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea about the transit, but the only way it's going to work, if they have enough money, is to get up, like, say, go all the way out Nolan's Road to Bell Road, go all the way out Murfreesboro Road to Bell Road, go all the way out the River Gate, right past Walmart out there at 2 Mile Pike, and you're going to have big depots for places for people to park. Yeah, tell me what y'all think about that.
All right, Michael.
Mike has just described the plan. Boy, I tell you what, he's right on it. He's right on it. Plenty of places to park, and we may not be all the way out to Bell Road, and we may not be all the way to Rivergate, but we're close. And as our regional partners begin to conduct their own referenda and get on board with the process that our state legislature has endowed them with, then we're going to be able to see a true regional build-out, which is what the In Motion plan contemplates. So not only will we go to Bordeaux, we will go to Clarksville. You know, not only will we go to Rivergate, we'll go to Gallatin. In fact, we'll go to Ashland City. We'll go to Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and even go to Franklin and Brentwood.
So the plan can expand.
The plan can expand.
And that is the hope. And parking, there will be good parking in this plan?
Good parking, secure parking, and incentives to actually come early and come often.
Okay.
Yeah, and just one other thing I would add on the park and rides, and again, it's so important why this dedicated revenue source is so crucial, is that the MTA and RTA have existing park and rides, but all of them are done in negotiations with supermarkets, and so they're essentially volunteer park and rides, and so you have to sort of ask the business owner for access to a couple of the spaces.
And their attitudes change from time to time.
And their attitude changes. So then for the user, that's really confusing, because one day it could be at the Kroger over here, and the next day it's at the hardware store down the block. So having this dedicated revenue source, in addition to all the other great things, it means that we can put really quality park and rides and transit centers into the system. So there are these great access points into the system. We really are the only, if you know, one of the only cities of our size that doesn't have a dedicated revenue for transportation.
When we say dedicated revenue, okay, again, we put out, it's an infrastructure improvement, $5.2 billion, could come in under. Do we know how we raise that money yet? When we say dedicated revenue source, what is the dedicated revenue?
There are 4 basic pots. Business tax surcharge, a surcharge on business. I want to be clear about that, because people think it's a tax on business revenue. No, it's a surcharge on tax. So if your business pays $1,000 a year in taxes, then you'll pay another $200. There'll be a tax, an additional surcharge on the taxes that hotels and motels pay. There'll be a surcharge on the taxes that are already assessed on rental cars. Those things really emphasize the sharing aspect of this tax proposal. It's not just on the residents of Davidson County, but all those persons who come and use the ambiance and the facilities and the like share in the pain. Yeah. But the biggest piece comes from sales tax. A 0.5% increase beginning next year if this referendum is successful, and another another 0.5% going in 2023. That's tough, but it's much better, much more reliable, and the pain is assuaged by eliminating bus fare charges for the most vulnerable among us. So if you're at the poverty level or below in terms of earning, you ride free.
So those are the pots where the money will come from. Obviously, tourists would pay a big part of that.
That's right.
When we talk about sales tax, we're going to have one of the higher sales tax rates in the country.
Yes, that's true.
So when you all are out talking about that, what sort of reaction are you getting? What are you hearing about that?
Bah humbug.
Yeah, that's tough.
Whoever says yay taxes.
Yes.
I mean, Walter is right on that there are, we are limited by the authority that we were given with the Improve Act, which is the state legislature passed in April, which was the increase in the gas tax and also the local option for counties. And there was about 6 or 7 surcharges. It had to be a surcharge on an existing tax that already existed in Davidson County. And really, when it comes down to it, when you look at the revenues that you need to do a transit system, sales tax and property tax are the only options. Yes, the business tax, the rental car and hotel motel are really, really crucial parts of it, but sales tax and property tax are the big revenue generators. And we know that in Davidson County, about 47% of our sales tax revenue comes from outside of the county, and we want the system to be shared by the visitors that are coming in, the people that are commuting in from outside counties, rather than the property tax, which would have been 100% bore by the.
So none of this would be paid with property tax, is that right?
Correct.
So it's sales tax and then these other surcharges.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's interesting. Let's go to Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hello.
Go right ahead.
Well, to give you a little bit of background on me, I've been driving professionally for 39 years. I've been to every major city in the United States at one point or another. I've also been out of the country as a driver.
Okay.
I have absolutely no use for this mass transit. I will vote and I will scream, holler, and jump up and down until it stops. Nashville is going about it the wrong way. This $5.2 billion could be put to improving roads, intersections, lighting. I sit at the corner of Antioch Pike and Harding Place every night, waiting almost an hour to go through a 4-mile stretch because of those lights are so screwed up. The intersections are so closed off that nobody can go anywhere. This money needs to be provided to widen intersections, get rid of the telephone poles and electrical poles, bury them, like every major city in the United States has done.
All right.
We need to widen these intersections so people can take unrestricted right-hand turns. And the biggest problem in Nashville that I've seen is the lack of understanding on how to drive.
So there could be some driver education in there. You give us a lot to talk about. I appreciate your call. You're passionate. I appreciate it. He's saying this money could be spent, you heard him, widening the roads, getting traffic lights better in sync. I'm sure he's not the only one who thinks that. What do you say?
He's not the only one who thinks that, I'm certain, and he would be not the only one who'd be dead wrong on how to approach our congestion, not only as it currently exists, but what it will be like in the future. Why would we continue to look at past technology, at past solutions for future problems that simply cannot be addressed by building more, by pouring more pavement? If we could, that is, if we could widen thoroughfares, if we could simply just improve intersections, and that in turn would resolve everything, it just simply wouldn't. But I too appreciate passion, and I don't think that I'm going to convince this gentleman in what I'm saying, but maybe Erin can. Yeah.
Well, just a couple of things that I would add is that there is funding in the plan to go towards intersection improvements, signal upgrades and equipment upgrades, as well as neighborhood traffic calming and school zone traffic control. Because he's right, we do have some really frustrating intersections in Nashville, a lot of misaligned intersections, and so we really and no sidewalks, and so we really are looking at some of our most dangerous intersections in Nashville, and this funding will help us be able to continually address those intersections every year. Because it doesn't matter whether you're walking, biking, driving, or riding transit, better intersections will be better for everybody. I think the thing where Walter and I definitely disagree with him is that widening roads are going to solve our problem. Even if we rely on the state for widening our highways, and they have a definite funding issue, as we saw with the Improve Act that just happened. But you know, when you widen an intersection, it usually means condemning somebody's property and to be able to widen it, which is really, really difficult to do. And then widening vehicle lanes only buys you capacity for 3 to 5 years, and then you need to go and widen it again. We're talking about an investment that will buy capacity on our roadways for 50 to 100 years. And I mean, that's an easy choice to make. When we look at vehicle lane capacity on a freeway lane, you know, theoretical capacity is 2,400 vehicles an hour, and it usually is much closer to 1,500 to 1,600 vehicles an hour. A 4-car light rail train can move 16,000 people an hour in each direction. There's no contest there, in my opinion.
Wow.
So
imagine if you were going out
You
selling.
asked what credentials this young woman has. You just heard it. You know.
Imagine if you were going out selling. It's going to be a $5.2 billion plan to widen the roads. So that would be
who's going to vote for that?
That's not maybe going to work. And it's tough, and people do have this passion. But do you think it is sinking in when you're going and talking to people? You're probably hearing some of that. Do you think it is sinking in that widening the roads, we're at a point with so many people moving here that's not going to work?
Yeah.
Do you think that's sinking in?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I mean, and the reality is that you hear much more sound and fury from those persons who are simply against the proposition. You rarely hear from the multitudes who are for it. It's a no-brainer for them. You know, I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to let people know I support what demands my support. So we in good spirit listen for the naysayers and wait for the naysayers to actually give us some empirical basis for why we should change our view. You know, it's 39 years of driving wherever he's been driving, including but not limited to Nashville, simply doesn't cut it for me in terms of why I should think that what he's saying has any veracity.
All right, we're going to take a break. There's a tunnel that's part of this plan. I want to ask about the tunnel. We'll take a break. If you want to call, go ahead and call. A couple of people are on the line. There's the number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Be back right after this.